Thank you very much, Madam District Director, and good evening, everyone. First thing I want to do is ask your indulgence a little bit. I am not feeling so well tonight. We're going to push through this and we're going to do a good job anyway. But I'm going to, apologies now before I start. If I have to mute myself so I cough or sneeze or something, you'll understand what's going on here. I'm going to change the title just a little bit. Sheila gave you the title of my presentation, and then I decided to give it a snazzier name. So we're going to talk about how clubs can win with pathways, but you'll see it really fits exactly with what Sheila's talking about. We're going to look at how clubs can work together, use pathways to be successful. So let me talk a little bit about what I mean by that. We're going to be discussing 10 ways that pathways can help your club become distinguished. Specifically, I'm going to give you 10 strategies that you and your fellow club officers can use to make sure that your club stands out and becomes distinguished in the 2024-2025 year. As you know, everyone likes to win, right? We've seen the Olympics. We watch the Olympics. They would get up there with those gold medals and wave the flags. We love that. Well, it's not just in the Olympics that that happens. Your club can be a winner too. And it is my hope that every one of you here, every club that's represented here tonight, can be a distinguished club. I'm going to talk about what that means, and then I'm going to talk about how pathways can help you get there. Most importantly, I want you to understand it's a team effort. Just like we saw in the Olympics, sometimes they're individual events, but often there are team events. And this is definitely a team event. It's going to take all of you. So if your fellow club officers are on this call tonight, that's great because they'll hear it from me. If they're not on this call tonight, you'll have to go back and repeat it to them and tell them what they can do, how they can work together to make sure that your club ends up distinguished, because that's what we're going for here. All right, so does everybody even understand what I'm talking about? I always have to do this because I start out talking about distinguished club program and how clubs can be distinguished. And there are almost always one or two or three people somewhere in the session that don't really know what I'm talking about. And they're too embarrassed to ask. So I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to ask you. All right. So what exactly is the Distinguished Club Program? If someone wants to try to explain it to all of us, you want to give me a hand raise, give me an electronic hand raise, and I'll see you. That'll pop you to the top, and I'll call on you. Distinguished Club Program. Come on, come on, come on. Everybody should be raising their hands. All right, Guy, you want to give it a shot?
Yeah, the Distinguished Club Program, it's a series of kind of tasks or challenges that when you meet, you can reach different levels of designation within Toastmasters, depending on how many of them you complete in a given period.
Okay. All right, good. I'll accept that. Thank you. Anyone else want to add to that? Liz?
As I put in the chat, you have to meet the membership goals. It doesn't matter if you meet all the other goals. If you don't meet the membership goals, you still lose. So meet the membership growth goals, and then you have to do at least 5 things. So if you look, there's a list of 10. The easiest ones are to make sure your your club officers attend in the fall and in the spring, and that you submit your officer list on time. And then the other ones are educationally based.
All right, good, good, good. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you. All right, so I'm going to continue and kind of summarize or pull out together what both of them have given us. The Distinguished Club Program is a series of goals that all Toastmasters clubs are working toward. There are 10 goals in the Distinguished Club Program. So every Toastmasters club is working to complete the same 10 goals. Let's go over them really quickly. I'm going to start with the lowest one down here, number 10. No, shouldn't the lowest one, but number 10. Madam Zoom Master, can you make me a Zoom host or take down the hands so that I can go and ask another question later now? Either one, make me a co-host. That'll work too, so I can. Okay, good, thanks. All right, so there are 10 goals. We'll start with number 10. You need to pay your dues on time. All right, so members have to pay their dues by October 1st, and you need to have 8 members paid by October 1st. You also have to submit your club officer list on time. When you have a new list of officers, you have to do that. This one hopefully is easy to do, and every club can meet this one. The next set of goals is club officers have to be trained. At least 4 officers have to come to training twice. You're here helping to help your club meet that goal. You must bring in, number 8 is 4 new members, and number 7 is 4 more new members. All right, so a total of 8 new members to complete those 2 goals. But here's the part that I want to show you. 6 of these 10 goals have to do with pathways. 6 of the 10 have to do with pathways. In fact, it's not possible to get to distinguished without getting some pathways goals completed. You can't get there. If you only do goal number 10, number 9, number 8, and number 7, you will not be a distinguished club. So you must also complete at least some of the pathways goals as well. So I want to make sure that you understand that, because that's really what I'm talking about, how to make sure that you get that 1 through 6, that you get as many of those as possible. And that means it'll be smooth sailing after that. All right, now, how many of you really don't know, how many of you are hearing this for the first time? And if you are, it's okay to raise your hand. So tell me now if you need more information about this and this is something that you really weren't familiar with, because that's why you're here. You're here to be trained. So it's okay to say, I really didn't know about this, even though I'm a club officer. Anybody? See, thank you. See, this is why I do this. Every single session, there are always people who are hearing this for the first time, and I know that. All right, so here's what I want you to do. You can go to Toastmasters.org and you want to grab one of these 2 or both of these booklets. There is a booklet. Go to Toastmasters.org and search for the Distinguished Club Program, and it will give you the booklet over here that outlines all of this in detail so you can read through it and understand it. I also recommend the Club Leadership Handbook. You can also get that one from Toastmasters.org, and I recommend you get that one as well. So if you're new to being a club officer and this business about the Distinguished Club Program is new for you, and I ask it because it always is for somebody in the session, then grab these 2 manuals and go through them. I guarantee you it will help you strengthen your club, it will help you be a better club, and you just might get to distinguished too. So make it your business, jot this down, take a screenshot of this slide, and then make it your business to grab these 2 manuals. And they're free. You just have to go to Toastmasters.org, put their names in the search bar, and then download them. And they'll download as a PDF version. All right, so I'm ready to get to the 10 strategies now that you understand what it is, because I'm going to give you 10 strategies that help you understand how pathways can help your club become distinguished. First, strategy number 1, use pathways yourself. This should be a no-brainer, but you'd be amazed how often I visit clubs where the club officers are not giving pathways speeches. The club officers don't have pathways awards. They still have those CC and ACB and CL and all that stuff behind their names, and they have not yet earned a pathways gold. It is incumbent upon you, if you are a club officer and you really want your club to be successful and you want your members to get the most out of Toastmasters, to model what they should be doing. In other words, you should be using pathways. You should be giving pathway speeches, and you should be working to complete paths in pathways, because if you're not doing it, they're not going to do it. And do keep in mind, I want to get back to something I'm kind of hinting at here. Pathways is really the educational component of Toastmasters. If you're not using it and you're not encouraging your members to use it, you're cheating them. They're not getting all that Toastmasters has to offer. So I strongly encourage you use pathways yourself and then get your members doing it. So number 1, make sure you're giving pathway speeches. Along with that, commit to at least 1 level. Every club officer ought to do this. Now, I don't know if in your club, if you do this, and my club, we do it. I don't know if you've done it in your club, but we typically have a strategy session at the beginning of each year, right around July 1st, where we sit down and plan out our year and how we're going to do what we're going to do and how we're going to get there. And one of the things that you should do in a meeting like that is set goals for all the officers, because again, you guys set the tone for the members. So every one of you should commit to at least one level. And in some cases, it's not unusual to do 2 levels, but commit to at least one. All right. So right now, here's what I want to know. How many of you here can complete 1 level in Pathways before June 30th? Because that's your deadline to complete these 10 goals. How many of you can do that? And here's what I want you to do. Type in the chat, please, what path and what levels you can complete by June 30th. Type in the chat so we can see what you're going to do. So more than a hand raise. All right, good. Erica says dynamic leadership, level 5. Okay, team collaboration, level 3. Presentation mastery, level 2. Now they're going really fast. I can't read them all, but okay. We get the idea. But every one of you can do this. And so you set a goal. And then from there, encourage your members to set a goal. That's not unusual either. That's not out of the realm for you to sit each member down and say, can you do a path for us? All right. Can you do a level for us? What can you commit to? You know, show them how many speeches that's going to be and say, yep, you can do that. All right, good. So make sure that every club officer at a minimum has made a commitment to completing at least 1 level. Okay, next. And you know what? This confused people when I gave this before, so I'll explain it if it doesn't make sense. But if you do goal number 10, goal number 9, goal number 8, and goal number 7, how many levels have to be completed for you to become distinguished? If you do those first 10, if you do goal 10, goal 9, goal 8, and goal 7, keeping in mind that you have to complete 5 goals to be distinguished. Do you realize, I'll give you the answer because it's confusing the way I'm asking it. Do you realize you only have to complete 1 level somewhere in Pathways to make this work? So for example, if one person does a level 4 or a level 5, as long as you've got those others, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And most of those are easy to do. They're inside of your control. 10 is absolutely inside of your control. 9 is absolutely inside of your control. For some clubs, getting members, you have to work a little bit, all right? But if you can pull that off too, then you've only got to add 1 level to that to get to distinguished, to be the lowest level of distinguished, 5 goals completed. Right, so it's not that hard to do. You've got to make the commitment. All right, I'm going to stop here and ask questions. Are there questions about anything I've said so far? And I'll continue with the strategies. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. I'll stop sharing for a minute so I can see everybody. No. Okay. All right, let's continue. All right, strategy number 3, take Pathways classes. The Pathways gurus are giving classes every single month. So for example, in the month of September, we will be giving a class called Getting Started in Pathways, a hands-on class for beginners. Our trainer will be Arturo Barnes. That will be on September 11th. I believe that's a Wednesday next month. I will put the information for that class in the chat. Hold on 1 minute. Let me grab it for you. I'll put the information for that class in the chat so that you can complete the link and sign up for it right now. All right, but take Pathways classes. Again, they cost you nothing. They're absolutely free, and they are an excellent way for you to develop your expertise in Pathways. Along with that, designate someone to be a club Pathways expert. So the gurus are going to be doing something new this year. I am going to be teaching a series of 6 intensive sessions, also starting in September, for people who want to be experts in pathways. So we're meeting on Sunday nights. The first session will be September 15th. I'm doing it on Sunday nights on purpose, so it doesn't conflict with anybody's club meetings or anything else. Sunday evenings, starting on September 15th. If you go through all 6 sessions, I guarantee you will know so much about pathways, because we're going to look at some things that you probably have not been looking at all this time. So it's going to be a deep dive into all the lessons in the projects. Make sure you know proper terminology. We'll look at the Pathways Mentor Program. We'll look at things like the external training feature. We will have some train the trainer sessions, so that when you're done, you will be able to go back to your club and really train people well. And most importantly, we're going to really grab that new interface. When they keep promising, they've been promising for a year that Pathways is going to have a new interface. When it comes, the people in this session are probably going to master it first, because whatever our topic was going to be, if the new interface kicks in, I'm prepared to dive in, learn it, and teach it to this group first. So I invite you to designate a club Pathways expert. And again, I'm going to put the link to that session in the chat as well. So hold on one moment and let me grab that one for you too. Here we go. All right. So I hope some of you will agree to do this, the Club Pathways expert, but certainly take a class. We've always got lots of different topics, lots of different ways to look at pathways, lots of different things that we're talking about, and every one of them will help you in some way be better at working pathways inside of your club and helping your members specifically, or more importantly, helping your members. I really should, by the way, I'm going to put in another slide here, like a 4.0 or 4.1. And that is invite a guru to come to your club, because we'll do that too. I don't have that on a slide, but we'll do that too if that's what it takes. If you really feel that you need to have one of us come to your club and explain it to everyone because everyone's terrible at it, we'll do that too. So just let me know. All right, so we'll do that as well. All right, let's continue. All right, we did all that. Strategy number 5, train your new members on pathways. So you should be, and that's really the purpose of the classes, and that's really the purpose of the Pathways Club Expert Program. The idea is that there should be at least one person in your club who can train new members. And it's true, the Pathways Gurus offer training, but that training typically is once every 6 or 8 weeks. We'll offer a new member class. But you want your members to be able to come in and hit the ground running right away. So when you train new members, you should be helping them with how to find their projects. You should make sure that you know that they know how to find the project checklist inside of every lesson, inside of every project. That they should know how to find their evaluation forms. They should know how to complete a project. They should know how to complete a level and request a level completion. All right, so all of those things, those are the basics. And every single member should get training in those basics, and there should be someone in your club who can do that. The Vice President of Education is tasked with that, but as you'll see in a minute, I don't think the Vice President of Education should be the only one who has to do that. So do keep in mind there should be someone in your club that's doing that for everybody. All right, make sure your mentors are trained on pathways. Hopefully in your club, everyone has a mentor, and hopefully every one of your mentors is at least knowledgeable about pathways. So they should come to training. So that's another possibility. You have your the vice president of education can pull mentors out and say, you know what, I'd love to have you go to this training session and come back with any information that'll help us or that'll help your mentee. So make sure that your mentors are also really knowledgeable about pathways. All right, I'm gonna stop here and see what questions you have. Anything? Okay, that gives me the opportunity to sip some water too. All right, let's continue. All right, strategy number 7, use all 3 base camp managers. This to me is really crucial. Someone tell me, please, raise your hand if you want to answer this question. Someone tell me, please, what the vice president of education is required to do in your club. What are the duties of the vice president of education? Liz, you want to
They're the
answer
workhorse.
what the duty? Okay.
They're the workhorse in my club. They plan the agendas. They make sure people stay on track. They meet one-on-one. They keep them motivated. You have to sneakily figure out what people want and need before they even know it, and maybe look at an advanced project to tempt them to do it. They're the star of the show, if you ask me.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. All right. Now, by contrast, Martha, go ahead, Martha.
Thank you so much. I wanted to say, I heard you say the base camp managers. When we were during the convention this past weekend, it showed that all the officers as of October 1 will need to be base camp managers, and they will be trained on that. I just wanted to point that out because it won't just be the 3 any longer. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, good. Oh, that's excellent. And this fits kind of what I'm talking about. That'll be excellent. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Until that change takes place, I'll continue with where I was going here. Tell me, by contrast, what it is the secretary has to do in your club. What are the duties of the secretary?
We have AI taking on that duty.
See? Okay, anyone want to tell me what the secretary is doing? See, this is exactly what I have observed. Now, again, if we get to the point where all the officers are going to be base camp managers, this changes the game considerably. But in almost every club, the vice president of education has all this to do. That has a huge list of duties. And the secretary has, relatively speaking, a smaller list of duties in almost every club.
Mhm.
Many of the duties that are official duties of the secretary have been taken over by technology. That's what I've observed too. And that sounds like in some cases, some club meetings, even we're letting AI take the notes as well. All right, so the result is you've got officers that have some time to give and can lend a hand to some officers that have a lot to do. So for that reason, I like to recommend, let's go back to this. I like to recommend that all base camp managers work together. It still should principally be the vice president of education's job to approve levels, keep records. I'm going to talk about keeping records in just a minute. It's still principally the vice president of education's job to kind of keep track of what's going on educationally inside of Pathways and inside of the club, not just Pathways, but inside of the whole club. But in addition, your secretary in particular can help out. And the secretary can do a number of different things. Let's see if I have a slide. Hold on. No, I'll talk about it without a slide. So for example, the secretary can help with the record keeping. The secretary can help with making sure members are understanding how to use Pathways. The secretary can help with making sure that if you use your free Toast host software, that the records are correct in free Toast host. All of these help the vice president of education make sure that people are moving forward. So let me talk a little bit about these specifically. So I would say even if we get to the point, sounds like we're going to, where all of the officers will have base camp manager abilities, I'm going to say probably the main duty of the vice president of education, it still will be principally, they'll be the lead. The vice president of education will be the lead in making sure that club members are moving forward educationally. But there are other things that other base camp managers can do. So strategy number 8 is verify pathways usage. Someone should be checking, because I promise you, new members, when they join the club, they give speeches, but they're almost never advancing themselves in pathways. Almost never, because they don't really understand why that's important, or they don't understand how to do it, or some combination of that. So one of the things that, say, the club secretary can be tasked with is going into base camp and taking a look at where the members are in terms of their pathways usage. And so, for example, if the member has given this speech in the club, writing a speech with purpose, it might be the secretary's job to go back at, say, the end of the month and just take a look and compare the speeches that were given in the club and compare that to what's checked off for each member, and make sure that each member has gone back into pathways, completed the project, and has it checked off. All right, I'm going to stop here and make sure everybody understands what I'm talking about. When I say the project is completed and has a check mark, what am I referring to? What is that?
I think that would mean that the project has been submitted to the Vice President of Education, who has signed off on it, sent it to Toastmasters International or to the district for that it has been approved at that, I shouldn't say approved, but that the specifics of the project have been completed. I may be understanding that slightly off.
Yeah, a little bit. It's close. You're in the right direction. You're in the right direction.
I was
All
just
right,
teaching
anybody?
to see my heart's in the right direction, right, my heart's in the right place. Okay.
Right. All right, but it's in the details. Erica, you want to take a stab at it?
Yes, so in the project, there's a part where you have to assess before and after you perform your speech or you do the training of the project. So as soon as you finish in that assessment, then you get the check mark of each of the projects, and it's individual.
Okay, absolutely. So let's go back and share the screenshot that I have here so that we can. So in my example here, the member gave the writing a speech with purpose speech in the club. The secretary goes in and discovers that the member has not checked off. It's not checked off. That would say to me, if I were vice president of education, that maybe the member doesn't understand what they're supposed to do. Now, in this example, these others are checked off, so maybe that's not quite right. But usually you see this right after they do their icebreaker, it's not checked off, and then they do another one and it's not checked off, and soon they've done all of these and none of them are checked off. That's really your hint that they're not understanding how important it is to move forward in pathways. So one of the things I'm recommending is that you have some of your other base camp managers assigned to the task of checking. Vice President of Education doesn't have to do this, but somebody is assigned to this. And they come in once a month, and once a month is fine. All right, particularly if your club meets only twice a month and there's only 2 or 3 speeches given at each meeting. All right, so there's only 3 or 4 things to check, and the secretary can easily go in and do that and can take a look and see if the member has gone into their lesson, taken the before assessment and the after assessment. That's what it takes to get this little check mark next to the project. And we want to see that little check mark, because without these check marks, you can't get a level completion, and you can't get the level awarded, then you can't complete your distinguished projects goals. So it's all related. And you've got to catch members early on when they're not doing this and help them understand that they need to do this. And trust me, everyone comes in, they love to give speeches. They're great with that. They're giving those speeches, but they're not doing this work inside of Pathways and checking things out because they don't really know how important that is. All right. What I'd like to do is take a minute and show you how that's done. Now, the only challenge with showing you this is that it is likely going to change in the new interface, but I'm going to show it to you now so that you have an idea, at least from now until the new interface comes along, you have an idea of how it works and what you need to do in order to do it. So give me 1 minute and I was logged in earlier, it's logged me out, so give me a moment. Okay, and I'm going to share my screen when it comes up. All right. So the Basecamp manager would have to log in as Basecamp manager. And keep in mind, currently only 3 officers are able to log in as Basecamp manager. But when you log in as Basecamp manager, one of the things it allows you to do is look at any other member's record. So you can put in any member's record. I can actually look at my own, so we'll show you mine. You can put in any part of the member's name, first name, last name, any part of the member's name. It will find that member for you. And you can go to that member's paths and learning. And you can see exactly what that member's doing. You can see that I've got dynamic leadership open as a path. I've got strategic relationships open in a path. So for example, in my club, just a couple of meetings ago, earlier this month, I gave the speech that went with leading in your volunteer organization. Now the secretary needs to come back and see that I have that checked off. So she would go to strategic relationships, open the curriculum, go to level 5, and view the details. And yes, it's checked off. She can see that I did do that. All right. So what this does is it gives your Basecamp managers kind of a high-level view of what anyone is doing in the club. And you can search for any person who's in your club, put in their name, take a look at their records, and you can verify that they're doing what they're supposed to do or not. And if they're not, that means you need to do an intervention. Work with them, get their mentor working with them, have a little training session for them, something, so that they understand that they have to do this too. It's not just give the speeches, it's also advance in pathways. Questions about this? Stop sharing so I can see you guys really well. Questions about this? Yes, Liz, I agree. Sometimes they're not even reading the project before giving the speech. Absolutely, they're not. All right. And again, if you attend some of the trainings that we've done training sessions where we delve into the objectives in each of these lessons. And people were amazed. I never knew all this was here. They're training us something in every one of these lessons. So yes, you want to catch that as early as possible with new members and make sure that they get in the habit of looking at those lessons before they give the speech and then doing them afterwards as well. Okay, and going back in afterwards and finishing up the lesson, making sure that they do the before and after assessments. All right, perfect. Are there any hints as to what the new interface will look like? I haven't seen it. That doesn't mean that those who went to the conference have not seen anything, but I haven't. So we'll know when we get there. I'm committed to learning it as soon as it's available, and we'll go from there.
Saundra?
Yes.
Hi, this is Sandra. They did say that it would be available in October.
Okay.
And so they are trying to make some enhancements. I apologize to everyone because that was one of the big questions when we were out at the conference. Let me turn my screen on. When would Pathways be available? Because we were told in the spring. But it appears that they are doing some additional enhancements to it to make it a little bit easier to use. So that is why it has been delayed, but expected in October.
Okay, well, thank you, Madam District Director. Thank you so much. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm too, Anita. Looking forward to it. They've been promising for years, so looking forward to it. All right, let's go back to our slides. All right, strategy number 8. We did that. All right, strategy number 9. Recognize pathways achievements. So make sure that you celebrate members' successes. Make sure in particular that members understand how completing levels help their clubs become distinguished. And again, beginners in particular don't see how this all fits together. And this is where you as club officers can help them understand. I encourage you on a regular basis to announce to members where the club is with its distinguished club goals and what we still need. We still need a couple of people to do level 2s. We still need a couple of people so that members understand how it's all working together. But it starts with celebrating their successes. When members do complete levels, we make a big deal about it. We let people know about it, and we help the club understand how it's helping us all move forward. So absolutely make sure that you recognize the achievements. And keep in mind, I grabbed all these photos of people holding up their certificates. You don't even have to make a certificate anymore. They're right there in Pathways. All you have to do is go get it and print it and hand it to them. If you're meeting in person and you want to hand them the certificate, it's easy enough to do. You don't, as I said, don't even have to create it. So make sure that you have some kind of ceremony or some kind of recognition for your members as they complete their Pathways achievements. And then strategy number 10 is to keep good Pathways records. And in my opinion, keeping records is critical to your club's success in Pathways. And let me talk about why. When you have good records as the Vice President of Education, you will know when someone should have completed a level. In other words, if you keep a record of every speech that everybody gives and where they are in their path, you will know, well, that's all the speeches in level 1. I should be expecting any day a level completion request from such and such a member. You'll know. And if you don't get it, you'll know to reach out to them so that they can do it for you. All right, because you can't award it at least the way it works now, you can't award it until they request it. And if they don't request it and you don't award it, that's a goal that you're leaving, they're possibly leaving on the table. That level's not done and your club it makes it harder for your club to complete the goals that it needs to complete. So you always want to be aware when a level completion should be up and when it should be coming to you. And the way that you do that is by keeping good records. So if the member fails to do what they're supposed to do, you know, because you've got information, you've got a record keeping system. And let me talk about a couple of possible record keeping systems. One possible record keeping system is your free Toast host record keeping systems. How many of your clubs use free Toast host? I know all don't, but if your club does, you can raise your hand. How many of your club uses the free Toast host website? Okay, I've only got a couple of hands up. Really? Okay. I bet more of you are using it than you realize, okay? And you don't know what I'm referring to. So let's do this real quick. If your club has a website that has a format like this, you are using a free Toast host website. Okay. Some clubs, many clubs don't. I know a lot of corporate clubs don't, but many community clubs do use this. And if you do, it has a record keeping system built right into it. All right, so let me go back to my slide and talk a little bit about how you can use that. All right, so your free Toast Host website keeps track of all of the speeches that people have given, the date, the topic, the path, the project. All right, it also keeps keeps track of what their introduction, if they put that in. And you have that for every member. This can be record keeping in your club, assuming that you keep it accurate. LaShonda, you have a question?
I actually have a comment. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm babysitting. But so they didn't see the free Toast Host page.
Oh, I
They
didn't
only
show it.
saw your
Okay.
emails. When you
Ah.
showed it, they can only see your emails. So if you could show that again,
Okay,
so
thank
people
you.
can see what you're looking for.
Okay, thank you. All right, if you have a website that looks like this, that has a format that's like this, if your club has a website like this is your free Toast Host website. And if you use it for setting up the agendas for your meetings, if your members can go in and put their names in to be on the agenda for an upcoming meeting, then one of the things that the free Toast Host website does is keeps that data of who gave a speech when, what speech they gave, and when they gave it. That provides you, as Vice President of Education, with some of the information that you need to keep track of who's doing what. You can always go back and take a look at it. Now, you do have to make sure it's accurate. So, for example, we all know that sometimes people put their name on the agenda and then they don't show. They didn't really give a speech that night because they didn't show. All right, so you've got to make sure that the information is accurate. Again, that's a job your secretary can do. At the end of the meeting, go back in. If somebody didn't really speak, take them out. If somebody did speak instead, put them in. So make sure that what was saved, what the agenda, the electronic agenda in the website shows is what actually happened. That's what we want to see. Make sure that's correct before reconciling that agenda. And that gives you data that you can use to go back and say, to take a look at who has given what speech. Tamara, I always say it wrong. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. So who has the authority to go and update the agenda? If you said that you were going to give a speech and you didn't show, like you just said, then who can change it to say, to make it back generic or something
Yes.
to update that agenda accordingly?
The Vice President of Education definitely can. And depending on how you've set the website, you can give that authority to other officers as well. So in the settings of the website, you can give that authority.
Has to give the authority.
Say it again.
The VPE has to give other people
actually,
authority.
whoever is your website administrator.
Okay.
The administrator of the website. So every club has to have somebody that's designated as the administrator.
Mhm.
And whoever has the administrative duties for the website can set who can do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
The VPE can do it automatically, and the administrator can give others that ability as well.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Where were we? All right. So this is one kind of record keeping. Another kind of record keeping is Toastmasters has on its website. I don't think you can see that. Hold on. I'm sorry. Toastmasters has in its website, in its store, on its website, something called the Pathways Achievement Record. It's paper documents, but if that works for you, that's fine. And it's a system where you have a page for each person and you write down what speeches they've given and you keep it all in a 3-ring binder. And I think it costs like $15. And this works. All right. If this works for you, do it that way. But you need something that lets you know who's given what speeches so that you can be sure that people are sending you level completions when they're supposed to, people are finishing paths when they're supposed to. You've got to make sure it's up to date. So that's one possible way to do it. And a third possible way to do it is create your own spreadsheet. So you can do that as well. Keep a spreadsheet with records of all of your members and make notations of when they have finished speeches. And then when you are done as VPE, you're going to pass that on to VPE next year, and they continue to put information right in that spreadsheet. So I have a version of this that I am willing to share with you. Hold on one second. And I am going to give you, we had a club member, a member of our club who was really, really good at spreadsheets, and she created this blank tracker, and I am going to give you access to it. Now, when I give you access to this tracker, again, what you're going to do is download it. Don't just type things in the tracker. Download it and save it to your own computer, because anything you type in this link that I give you, everybody who's in this class is going to be able to see this. I've done this and people have misunderstood. Oh, I could just start typing in here. No, download it, save it on your own computer, and then you can use it. All right. So, but let me show you what it looks like, what I'm giving you. All right, and so I'm giving you a spreadsheet that lets you put the member's name. It lets you put what path they selected. Now we'll have to update all this, so we'll have to change this. But this works for now, who their mentor is, and then you mark off the dates that they've given each of these speeches so that you can keep track of who's doing what in the club. All right, so you are welcome to have this, and keep in mind, you're going to, when you get here, you're going to grab it and download it. All right, and save it as a spreadsheet on your own computer, and then you can use it, pass it on to whoever comes behind you as Vice President of Education. All right, questions about record keeping or anything else that I've said tonight? Okay, Tamara.
So I'm looking at the tracker that you sent, and the speech tracking tab has level 1, level 2, all the way up to level 5.
Right.
And is this speech tracker, so we need a page for each person?
You need a line for each person. You're going to put people's names. So row number 1 will be a member's name. Row number 2, where it says name, you'll put a member's name.
So that means that level 1, 2 through 5 is going to be the same in each path?
No. Okay, hold
So
on. Hold on, let me
that's
pull
why
it
I
back
don't
up.
understand how we can do it in one track. I guess, well, the names might be slightly different, but level 1, level 2. Okay, I'll have to look at
All
it.
right, I can, all right, so you're going to put a person's name here.
Mm-hmm.
Next member's name goes here. Next member's name goes here. You can see it, right? So you just put person number,
Yes.
put down the path they've selected, put the name of the mentor. And as they do icebreaker, everybody's level 1 is identical. So yes, as they do icebreaker, put the date. If they have the old version of level 1, then you need these blue ones. If they have the newer version of level 1, you need the white ones, but you'll figure it out as they give the speeches, you'll be able to see.
Okay.
All right. And then level 2, everybody's level 2 has 2 required projects and introduction to mentoring. So everybody's required project is different, but doesn't matter. They're required.
Okay.
You fill it in when they do their required project.
Gotcha. Okay.
Level 3, everybody in level 3 has 1 required project and 2 electives.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you put it in here. And also, they're not supposed to complete level 3 unless they've been a speech evaluator, the Toastmaster for the meeting, and the Toastmaster of the day, and the Table Topics Master. Yeah, that's buried somewhere in Pathways, but yeah, they're supposed to have done all of that too. But you can put in a date anywhere along the way when they've done that, put that date in as well. And if you missed it, this is where you go back to your free Toast host data and find it and put it in.
Okay, thank you.
So it's adaptable to whatever path they're in because all the paths have the same format.
Thank you.
All right. We're ready to wrap up. Let's do a quick review to take a look at what we've learned today. All right, so I promised before we started that I would give you 10 strategies that would help you use pathways in a way that will, I don't want to say catapult you to distinguish, but it'll help you get there. So let's review what I talked about. Use pathways yourself. Why is this important? Someone tell me this. Why is it important for club officers to use pathways?
Leading by example.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want to lead by example. If you're not doing it, your members definitely aren't going to do it. You've got to
And
lead
you
by
know what they're
example.
looking for.
Say it again.
And you know what they're looking for, what they need to look for.
Yes, yes. Okay, because you're doing it, so you know what so they know what they should be doing. All right. So use pathways yourself. Number 2, commit to at least one level. Why is that a useful thing to do?
It's like one speech a quarter. It's doable.
It's absolutely doable. Absolutely. One level, some levels are, level 4 is it's two speeches. All right, level 4 is 2. Level 3 is 3. Yes, it's doable. And in fact, I might even push officers to say that they should commit to 2 levels in the year between July 1st and June 30th. But again, if you commit to at least one level, then you have sort of the authority, if you like, to ask members to do that. And that's how you get your goals completed. If you tell people, this is our expectation. I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to ask you to do it. So what can you commit to before June 30th? All right, so excellent. Take pathways classes. I'm going to put these 2 together. How can this help you? Taking pathways classes and being designated as a club pathways expert.
Can easily answer questions for people that have them. We can go right to it without fumbling because we are
Yes.
familiar with it.
Yes. And keep in mind, everybody who comes into the club has to be trained on pathways. And if you depend on the gurus only, that means your members are sitting around a long time, waiting for the next class. You want to be able to get members up and running soon after they join your club. You want to be able to help solve problems inside your club. You want to understand what's going on inside of pathways. And so, yes, taking classes helps you do that. All right. I just answered my own question. Why is it important to train your members on pathways? I just gave you the answer to that one. All right, but you understand your members need to know how to use pathways. It's not just about giving speeches. It's also about using the educational content that Toastmasters has given us. And you want your members from day one to understand that it's there and to get in the habit of using it. And you don't want somebody put in the chat, you don't want members just giving speeches and they haven't even looked at the content. Absolutely not. You want them to know it's there, and you want them to be looking at it before they give their speeches. All right, number 6, why it is important for mentors to be good with pathways.
How can you teach what you don't know?
Absolutely. Okay, and hopefully your mentors are doing a good job working with mentees inside the club. They've got to be knowledgeable. What are the advantages of using all of the base camp managers?
Because it's balanced work and not a heavy burden on any one person.
Absolutely, right. Because if we're not careful, we'll overburden our vice president of education. You'll get to the point people don't want to do it. And instead, we've got lots of other officers in a club that can do some of these same duties. So use all of them so that we spread some of this work around. This goes back to the concept that it's a team effort. Okay.
If you're the VP of education, no one else can sign off on you unless you have another officer do it.
Well, that's true too. Absolutely. That's absolutely. Why is it important to go in and check whether people are using pathways? Like, why is it important to go in and verify that members, when they've given speeches, have completed the lesson in pathways?
Helps us get to DCP.
Okay. What else?
It helps you know that they've completed something so you can list it on Facebook, which will make your club look more interesting. And they can also, I find when I post it, people forward to their Facebook page, and it's a way for them to toot their own horn.
Okay, see, that's one that I hadn't even thought of, but okay. And I would say the most important reason, excuse me a minute. The most important reason is when you see people are not completing those lessons and pathways, it tells you they're not understanding. And that's one of the things you want to do. You want to go and take a look, particularly with new members, make sure they're understanding what they're supposed to do. Because if you can, sometimes you'll go over there and see they haven't even opened the lessons, like we talked about. So you want to make sure they're doing that. All right, and that they're using pathways. Why is it important to recognize achievements? Now, somebody that also the answer to 8 and 9, this kind of fits. Let people toot their own horns. We toot our own horns inside the club. We recognize our achievement. We applaud when people do a good job. We encourage success inside of our clubs. We want to do that. And the final one, keep good pathways records. That lets you know when people aren't submitting level completions. That lets you know when people, that also gives you the records you need for approving a level completion. If there's ever a level completion where you haven't seen, don't remember when the person gave the speech, or they gave the speech before you were in the club or whatever else, you've got records that let you do it. All right, so I've given you 10 strategies. I hope you will be able to use those strategies to be successful. And I hope everybody in here is an officer in a club that will be distinguished come June 30th. Any final questions that you have? All right, if not, I'm going to turn things back over to our division director. Please welcome back to the lectern, Ms. Sheila Edens-Brown.
Thank you so much for that, Saundra. And I truly enjoyed it. I hope that each of us did, and that you have something that you are taking away with it. It seems like every time I sit for Pathfinders, we have a group at my church called Pathways, young people. But it seems like every time I sit there, I learn something new. And I love these 10 strategies. I'm going to make myself a banner for my wall so I can see that. So thank you so very much for that information that you brought to us. And I'm looking forward to also taking your training. I'm going to sign up for that also.